Hey everybody, it's Rena Kennedy here. So I'm going to draw today the layout poster, the first poster that I'm going to be releasing on Kickstarter. This one's going to be about Volk. This one actually is one of from the action scenes that you'll see later, probably around chapter 3, book 3. So I'm not going to talk too much because, one, I don't like to hear myself talk. I've already went ahead and started portioning out the character here. He's supposed to be leaning forward in the image, and he'll be holding the sword that he obtains later on. So I'm not going to get too much into the story because I want you guys to look forward to it. But I did want to talk a little bit and go into the character design aspect of everything. I say a lot, and I apologize for that because it is quite annoying to some people. So right now I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I've got a site set up on Patreon, which is the main site that you can go and read the comic itself. I've noticed a lot of people aren't getting my posts on Facebook, so if you've been following along on Facebook or you're trying to follow along and you're just having trouble with Facebook because I'm not promoting through Facebook, I don't know if they're just not showing me off. So, but you can always see my work here on YouTube as well as on Patreon are probably going to be the best ones to follow. But if you have any questions about how I design, I would like for you to let me know. If you're having trouble seeing my work, I would like for you to let me know. If you have any questions about how I do my layouts, storyboard design, or anything else like that, again, please let me know. It would be greatly appreciated. I have also mentioned in Facebook and on Patreon that I'll be starting my Kickstarter soon, which again, that's what this poster is for. So this is essentially, you will get your choice one of two posters. The Volk poster, which would be him, or the female poster, her name is Sakura. You'll find out about her later, but she will also be the other poster. There's also one subscription pledge that you can do and end up getting both of the posters. And I am looking forward to having these out by Christmas. I am aiming for Thanksgiving month, November, so that people can get their shopping done early, because I love to get my shopping done early. Right now my daughter's asleep. My son is awake. He is behind me on the couch, and he is watching YouTube because that's all he does. He loves YouTube. YouTube is his life. But you may hear him as I talk, and if he says anything inappropriate or funny, I apologize. Unless you enjoyed it, then it's funny. For Patreon, I'm also going to be releasing extra comics on the side, more about the things of my life, kind of a thing. So you can also get bonus stuff if you subscribe with me on Patreon. So I hope that interests you. If there's anything else that you would like to see as well, you know, any type of, hey, it'd be cool if I could get this or that. Speaking of which, my husband had like this really, really bright idea on Kickstarter to have the sword as one of the gifts. But unfortunately, Kickstarter does not like it when you give away weapons. I guess because some people may be too young that donate on Kickstarter. So even though I've got a friend who is a blacksmith and I was going to get the swords done through him. I still plan on selling the sword that I designed. It will only be, of course, for decoration use, not for actual purposes. Guaranteed to defend you from any Lethians, however. But I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about selling it, if I can sell them, if I'll give them away. So if you follow, you might end up getting a really cool sword. So that would be super nice. It's a Renaissance style sword. I'm doing my research on it. Again, I still have to talk to my friend who's a blacksmith and see what kind of, if he's able to duplicate the sword. But I think it'd be totally awesome. I myself would love to have a sword based on my comic book. I mean, how awesome would that be? So if you think that that sounds like a really awesome treat and you want to know how you can go about getting a copy of his sword and the prices and stuff, just like this video, comment below, subscribe, of course. Subscriptions will, of course, always keep you in the loop. If you want to be in the loop. Who doesn't? Let me know what you think. So for the rest of this video, I think I'm just going to do fast forward through it, because I really don't have too much to say, and I'm just going to be sitting here and rambling, and there's a lot of detailed work involved in this poster. I might go back later and do a more detailed walkthrough on how I get to this finished project point. So one thing I do want to ramble on about a little bit here is my degree. I do have a degree, which I've showed on my video. My degree was in computer science and animation. At the time, Disney just joined Pixar. They bought Pixar. They were in contract with Pixar, but then they actually bought Pixar. And that was awesome, because that's what, I was going to school for. Because a lot of people are like, what'd you go to school for? And I'm like, oh, it's digital effects animation technology. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, at the time, Shrek was like the biggest movie on the media. And so I was like, hey, you know what Shrek is? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what I went to school for. Because when you say 3D, a lot of people think of like 3D glasses and going to the movie theaters and watching things in 3D. But it doesn't mean like the movie is actually made in a 3D program software. So I always want to make sure to specify what I mean by computer animation. I would love to have my comic book turned into a cartoon series. Wouldn't that be totally awesome? And since I have the technology and I know how to do it, okay, technically I don't have the technology, because that stuff that they use for computer animation is expensive. And though I was able to practice on a student license, I was a student, and like most students, I did not have money. And therefore I could not buy it at a discounted price. Maybe I'll reach out to these programs that I used in college and let them know that I would like to sponsor them on my show if I become popular enough to where they said, yeah, hey, we'll love the advertisement. But until then, I'm not going to mention any kind of programming exactly. Though I can tell you, I will tell you, that the program that I've been using to ink and finish my final pages, is actually Medibeam. And my computer, anyone who's been following me long enough will know that my computer died. It went to computer heaven. I'm not going to go into much detail on who, why, what, when, where, and why. It just died. because sometimes computers just feel like it's time to go. With that being said, since I do a lot of art by hand, and even though I practiced with an art pad in college, it was one of those where here's the pad and here's the screen, and you have to look at the screen to see where the cursor's going, and it didn't quite work for me because I've been drawing by hand since ever. So I don't want his hair to be, this is the action scene, so his hair needs to be a little fly away, more than normal. So I went out and I purchased, when my computer died, a tablet, a really nice Pro tablet, and I got it mainly so that I could do my artwork and look at it as I work on it. I do all my drafts by hand, and then I do the final one on my tablet. Inking, final sketch, inking, placement of panels, so forth and so on. Sorry that I had to turn my paper on you. Don't mean to mess with your eyes there. I'm trying not to here. Just over here. So I'm able to do some things on the tablet, but what I really like to do is get like a stationary computer. But until I get that debt paid off, obviously, I won't be able to. So, which is another thing that the Patreon is actually going towards. It's going towards these computer programs, these software that I need to use, that I enjoy using. I could go back to a chisel, stone, and pigeons, but this technology, it's got to keep up with it. Sorry if I space out. I just focus on the art sometimes. Chewing gum. Can't chew gum at the same time, I guess. Can't do that. Again, I apologize for having to rotate. I also stopped to check to make sure I am in frame. I'm not very good at videos, talking with people, or anything like that. Get nervous. So if you hear me stutter or stumble or mess up, please forgive me. Please, please, please. I don't mean to. Stumble so much. Drawing can be so relaxing. Come along quite nicely. This will be his collared shirt here. And repeat it in here. He gets his, I always enjoy a shirt under a shirt look. I don't know why. Maybe that's why I always like to wear the borders. I want to try to make this like slightly smaller. Okay. So, he's really young. He's supposed to be about 13. There's not going to be a lot of violence. No more than, I guess, other comic books. around targeted for the age of young audiences do nowadays, which as a parent I think borderline too much, but could just be the mom in me talking. I'm excited. I am super excited about this. Poster. I'm going to have a copy. I'm going to send some. That'd be a great holiday gift. We celebrate Christmas here. And so I think I will definitely be sending out posters to family members for Christmas. Hey, if you're a family member and you're watching this video, pretend you didn't hear that. So it'll be a nice surprise. Let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this and fast forward. His pants, his sword, the background, I'm going to do that in after I'm done with the drawing and penning and inking. I'm going to put the background in the computer, and I may or may not make a video on that. We will see. Until then, I'm just going to keep on drawing, and I hope you will continue to follow me. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course you can read all my work on Patreon. And again, if you join Patreon, thank you so much. My books will be out again. I'm planning on having them ready by the 1st of November. For anyone who's bought any of my work, thank you so much for your support. Anyone who's going to be buying, I thank you for your support again. I appreciate it. So the rest of this is going to be in fast forward, okay? Time lapse starting now.